Greetings and salutations, friends. This is your old pal Amelia Dixon coming to you live from the edge of known space. An orbiting military station is in desperate need of a serious cleaning after everyone on board was slaughtered. We're going to get down and dirty today, folks. Sit back, grab a tall drink of whatever you fancy, and let's get down to it on today's episode of Amelia's Scrub It and Dump It. I've got a great one here for you today, folks. I'm here at Station 467R, a military-owned space station orbiting above the planet Callion. Don't worry if you haven't heard of that particular planet before. I sure as hell hadn't until I got the call to come here and do my thing. As is usually the case, there's all kinds of red tape associated with doing a clean for the government. That means that I'm not going to be able to broadcast video with today's show, just audio. Now, I know that not being able to see my pretty face has you all broken up, but don't worry. You still get the smooth, dulcet tones of my voice. If you've ever seen the show before, you know the drill. But for those that don't, here's a quick rundown. My name is Amelia Dixon, and I'm a highly trained and experienced cleaner. I specialize in tidying up the places that no one else would ever touch. Because of this, I can demand a pretty penny for what I do. Even better, I write it into the contract that I'm allowed to take anything I manage to scavenge while I'm cleaning for resale. Basically, if it ain't nailed down, I get to turn it into cash. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm here first and foremost to do a job. And that job is to clean up this place and get it looking and operating better than it ever has. This particular job is looking like it's going to be a tough one. A little under 3 months ago, Station 467R was attacked by what has been described as a demonic attack. Yep, that's right, actual demons, the kind you might find in your everyday hellish lake of fire. Those buggers are bad enough on their own. But a whole mess of them ganged up and tore apart every living thing on this station. Of course, the military responded as only the military can, and before long they'd taken care of the demonic presence. That's where I come in. This place is the site of not one, but 2 war zones, and it's left the station looking and running pretty bad. And that's where things are at now. Let's get to work, shall we? Luckily, the docking bay was still operational, so I was able to get my ship inside and both the oxygen and artificial gravity are working. Even better, there aren't a lot of corpses in here, just a few that got sucked out into the wild black yonder when the bay doors opened. There's nothing worse than having to park your ship on a bunch of dead bodies. There's a lot of ground to cover on the station, so I've sent out a few scouts ahead to collect data. That way I can come up with the best plan for getting this place cleaned up. The scout bots are pretty pricey, but the amount of time they save is well worth the upfront cost. Speak of the devil, the scouts have finished their first run through the place, so let's see what they have to say. Oh my, that's a lot of corpses in the cafeteria. If I had to take a guess, I'd say that's about half the station's crew. It's hard to tell for sure. All those severed body parts look like they add up to about that, though. Not a problem. I've got a special acid that I whipped up for just such an occasion. It eats through clothes and anything organic, but it won't go through metal. Perfect for cleaning up those nasty body piles without breaching a hull. I'll have the bots apply it before they head back, and we'll hit the cafeteria last. That'll give the acid time to work. The bridge has a couple of bodies. I'll get those cleaned up manually. The acid is fine for open areas, but the fumes aren't great when you're in an enclosed one. Medical wing is clear. Oh, that there is a nice body scanner. Gonna have to swing by to pick that up. Those tissue regenerators are going right on the list as well. That's a tip for all you would-be resellers. 2 things will always net you a good profit and never go out of demand: medical equipment and guns. The entertainment suite is in rough shape, but hopefully some of the equipment is still working. I could really use a new holocam. Mine still works, but it got cracked while I was... Never you mind what I was doing. That's not something a lady discusses in a public setting. Now that's strange. The scout bots I sent to the living quarters and the storage bay haven't reported in. They're not responding to my recall order either. It could be nothing, but folks, my dearly departed mother didn't raise me to be an idiot. I don't fancy coming face to face with a demon and only having my charming smile to defend myself with. I'll send out security bots to those sections of the station, and I'll take Bessie with me when I leave the hangar. Bessie, for those not in the know, is my custom fully automatic rifle with heavy impact armor-piercing rounds and both laser and flame attachments. It's a girl's best friend. All right, people, it's time to tie back my hair, grab my mop and bucket, and get messy. We're here on the bridge of Station 467R. I've always found it best to start at the command center when doing a military facility cleanup. That lets me make sure that all of the facility systems are functioning properly. Nothing can ruin your day faster than a high-speed escape from a self-destructing space station. That's happened to me 3 times now, and you know what they say. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, and I put the right to disassemble control panels into my contract. I'm happy to report that everything here seems to be A-OK. The station's orbit around the planet is stable, all life support is fully functioning, and the readouts are telling me that the hull is intact. There's some minor fluctuations in the station shields, so I apologize if you folks are getting a bit of static on the transmission. With all that verified, it's time to get down to the nitty-gritty. The 2 corpses here are in pretty rough shape. Demons aren't kittens, after all. Both of them are more parts than bodies. The remains of the uniforms are telling me that this was the commander and the second in command of the station. Most of the surfaces here are metal and plastic, which are obviously easy to clean. The chairs the bodies are piled up in have soft material seats and backing, though. Halduvian goatbird fur, I do believe. Blood and all the varieties of body fluids are a real pain in the ass to get out of fur. Even if it's cleaned best as humanly possible, or robotically possible for that matter, it can still leave a visible stain. Hey, Joe, come here for a second.
What can I do for you, boss?
This is cleaning assistant bot J03, or as I like to call him, Joe. Joe started out life as an executive assistant unit before I acquired him on a clean. He was responsible for scheduling appointments, handling corporate documents, and a bunch of other things. I'd tried out a handful of assistant bots designed specifically for cleaning, but I was never happy with them. I don't need someone telling me the best way to get wine out of suede. I need someone to take my instructions and distribute them to the other bots while also making sure they do their jobs right. That brings us back to old Joe here. After some additions to his programming and a few heavy alterations to his body, he was perfect for the job. Still is. He's never let me down. I couldn't ask for a better assistant.
Aw, thanks, boss.
You are very welcome, sweetie. Here's what I need. Have an O2 dispose of the bodies. No need to save what's left. The families have already had funerals. Then send in a couple of scrubs to do what they do best. Now, for the chairs. I think we're going to have to use nanites. I don't see any other way of getting that gore out without them doing it at the micro level. Can you do that for me, hon?
Yes, boss. We'll get it clean as a whistle in here.
Thank you, Joe. As you folks may be able to tell, I made some changes to his language parameters. Helps me feel like I'm back at home on Earth 6. While Joe does his thing here and that acid does its in the cafeteria, why don't we go check out the medical wing and see what kind of goodies we can scrounge up? One of the most important things you need to be able to do in this job is adjust to a changing situation. I was on my way to the medical wing for some good old-fashioned scavenging, but I got a report from one of my bots of a strange sound coming from the areas around the cafeteria. Now, I was assured when I was hired that the military had taken care of the remainder of the demonic invaders before offering me the contract. As a general rule, I don't trust those uniformed buffoons as far as I can spit. They're not all idiots, or at least I don't think they all can be based on the law of averages. But one moron in the chain of command often leads to nothing being done right. I'm just outside the door of the cafeteria itself. If you hear hissing in the background, that's the acid doing its job on the other side. Try not to think about what it's doing to all those corpses. Thoughts like that aren't conducive to a good night's sleep. I'm not hearing anything myself, but the bots reported noises coming from the ceiling. On the way here, I had Joe send me the schematics to the station. Up above where I'm standing is a series of large air vents, and those pass over the cafeteria as well. I'm thinking that the acid application stirred up something in there. As things stand now, though, it doesn't seem like anything is still in this part of the station. I'll have to keep an eye out as I continue the job. Probably best that I have Joe get the remaining security bots on the station up and running, just in case. Well, okay then. Let's get on over to the medical wing as planned. If you're a professional janitor/cleaner/scavenger, such as myself, you know that the medical wing is the best part of a space station. Not only is there a lot of equipment that can be sold for a good price, it's almost always the cleanest part of the station. A good janitor appreciates cleanliness. If there's one constant in this universe, it's filth. And any break in that constant is a wonderful blessing. This wing is no different. Station 467R is like a lot of other stations. Even when you take away the whole pesky demon infestation thing, it's perpetually covered in a layer of dust. Military-issued cleaning bots are about as shit can get, if you'll pardon my saying so. Luckily, like all military medical facilities, this one is kept spick and span. It's not up to my rather lofty standards, but I'll readily admit that my standards are probably too high, at least in the eyes of everyone not named Amelia Dixon. I've only been here for a couple of minutes. That's long enough for me to know that this is where I'm going to make the majority of my profit on this job. I've got this big smile on my face that's not coming off anytime soon. Scanners, tissue regenerators, X-ray, and microscopic repair machines. Oh my stars, there's not one but 2 full-body surgical encasements. It's like finding a chest full of pirate gold on a deserted island. Huh, now this is strange. There's another section to the wing. Let's see here. Oh, interesting. It's some sort of science center. This isn't my area of expertise, not by a long shot. But if I had to take a shot in the dark, I'd say it's a laboratory. There are half a dozen stations set up, each one for a different kind of experiment. I'm looking at a large glass case filled with a yellowish liquid. These bubbles tell me that air is being pumped into it. Floating in the liquid is... I have no idea what this is. Its body is scaled like a lizard's, but its face is... Well, there's no other way to put it. Its face is human. Whatever these scientists were working on, it's certainly not natural. I'm sure that I could sell this to someone on the black market. You'd be surprised how much demand there is for the strange and weird. Fuck that, though. I'm not getting this thing anywhere close to my ship. What the hell is that warm breeze I keep feeling? The temperature controls are showing that it's within a standard range. I'm definitely feeling hot air blowing from somewhere. I think it's coming from this wall, but there's no vent. Well, looky here. A hidden control panel. The access code my employer provided that is supposed to operate all the panels isn't working. I'd say that I'm surprised, but remember how I told you one idiot in the chain of command can ruin everything? Maybe I spoke too soon. Now that I'm getting a better look at it, this panel looks like it was recently installed. My, were the scientists here getting up to some extracurricular activities? A little off-the-clock action? Only one way to find out. The commercials for this type of control panel like to boast about how impossible they are to override. The part they always leave out is how a low-voltage shock, like, say, one that I can generate with the battery from my communicator. A hidden door. The plot thickens. The air coming out of it is hot, almost boiling. It reminds me of summer mornings in New Atlanta 4 on Earth 6. Well, smack my ass and call me Phyllis. That right there is an open portal to hell. No wonder our scientifically inclined friends hid this room. Opening a portal to hell isn't the kind of thing you want your superiors to know about. A lot of people don't know this, but scientists opening portals to hell is becoming a lot more common than it used to be. You get these men and women with more education than brains, stick them in an enclosed station in space, and they become ticking cabin fever time bombs. For some reason, these poor souls always seem to go immediately to building a portal when they're feeling slighted. Argument with a coworker? Build a portal to hell. Broke up with a partner? Build a portal to hell. Goldfish died during the night? Build a portal to hell. It's a real problem. I'm seeing big dollar signs here, folks. An operating portal goes for big bucks. Despite how many scientists treat these things like science fair projects, most of them are destroyed when the demons inevitably enter this universe. Ah, shit. Here comes one now. Pardon me for a moment, folks.
I will consume your soul.
There, much better. Joe, can you hear me?
Yes, boss. Loud and clear.
I need you to send over a few scavenging bots to the medical wing. I've got an open portal to hell here. Have them shut it down, but make sure that it will still operate properly when it's slapped back together.
Will do, boss. They'll be there in 2 shakes.
Probably want to have bulk activated and come on down as well. Anything coming out of that portal while it's being deconstructed is going to need a firm hand.
Yes, ma'am. Joe out.
What a nice bot. Oh, where's my head at? You folks don't know Bulk yet. He's a recent acquisition. I was contracted to clean out a series of bases on one of the planets inside the Gunthord war zone, and I found him standing in a corner deactivated. He's a frontline heavy combat bot designed to withstand everything up to and including a nuke, while dishing out just as much punishment as he gets. I'm going to take a while to make a collection list for the scavenger bots here in the medical wing, and I'll catch up with you in the next station section. I'm here in the entertainment suite. The noise that you're hearing are the cleaning bots doing their thing. This section of the station doesn't show any signs of the life and death struggle between the crew and demons, so all this wonderful crew needs to worry about is the usual clutter and mess. The pickings are a little slim here. I'm starting to see why the scientists went insane and did the hell portal thing. On the plus side, there's a perfectly intact holocam to replace my broken one. Unfortunately, there isn't much more after that. Just a few view screens and a communications pod. Now, I'm thinking that Sorry, hold on. I just heard something. There it is again. It's definitely coming from the air vents overhead. Whew. That was a fucking demon if I've ever seen one. Broke right through the vent and tried to get up close and personal with me. Thankfully, Bessie was here to play chaperone.
Boss? Are you there, boss? Station systems registered an unknown biological organism in your area, as well as a weapon discharge.
I'm here, Joe. It's sweet of you to worry, but I'm fine. I've got a rogue demon running around up here.
Adjusting the station detectors to recognize the unknown organism as demonic now. I see it, boss. Motion detectors are picking it up in the ventilation system.
Good. We'll get some security bots up there, too.
Sorry to interrupt, boss, but now that it's calibrated properly, the system is picking up more demons on the station.
Oh, good. We have a little party going on. How many are you seeing, Joe?
Counting the one near you, I'm showing 346.
I'm sorry, hon. You said how many?
346. Most of them are in the living and storage sections. They appear to have formed hive-like structures in these two sections. I believe that they're breeding.
Oh, Lordy. That's gonna change some things. Let's get everyone back to the ship. We need to regroup and figure out how we're gonna proceed. Folks, I'll be back with you shortly. Here we are on board the love of my life, my beautiful ship, the White Star. Me and the bots have put our heads together and come up with a plan. It's simple, elegant, and best of all, efficient. We're gassing the fuckers right out of existence. Technically, it's a shockingly powerful neurotoxin that I got my hands on 4 or 5 years ago during a cleaning job at a chemical weapons plant. Joe, the little genius, has modified it using the data gathered by the station computer system to affect demonic biology. When you've got a beehive, you spray the insecticide, right? Just to be on the safe side, we've left the station and are in a holding pattern a few thousand meters away. It's going to take about an hour for the neurotoxin to make its way through the entire station and do its thing. After that, we're going to get back in there and clean everything out. I'd estimate that the cleaning combined with the scavenging will take about 10 hours to complete. I'm going to get some preparations done for re-entering the station, so I'll catch up with you in just a bit. Try not to miss me too much. Here we are at the end of the job. Our time here on Station 467R has certainly been interesting. But more importantly, it's also been very profitable. Joe here has run the numbers, so let's see what he's come up with. Joe, when you take the flat contract payout and combine it with our scavenging, how much bank do you estimate we've made?
After subtracting our costs, including the loss of a rare neurotoxin, as well as factoring in a currently fluctuating sales market, I'd estimate that you're looking to bring in about 276,000 credits.
Now that isn't bad at all for a one-day job. That will certainly get a few creditors off my back, with enough left over for a few weeks of debauchery. I'll take it. As my 7th husband used to say before he was accidentally stepped on by a giant celestial being, never overstay your welcome. From all of us here aboard the White Star, thanks for joining us on this edition of Amelia's Scrub It and Dump It. And remember, in the high-stakes cleaning world, keep your contracts clean and your credits close. See you next time, dearies.